Hi class, it's Miss Raymond. This video's purpose is to go over your unit assessment that you will have in a Wizer sheet and to clarify some of the questions if need be. Okay, so you are high school seniors, so I expect you to give me high school senior work. This unit assessment is what's called a summative assessment. That means it summarizes and assesses on the unit as a whole. Specifically, the two items that you will be writing about are the speaker's perspective regarding choices in the life of Robert Frost's The Road Not Taken, and you will examine the character Reverend Stephen Khumalo from Cry the Beloved Country. Okay, so those are the two main points. Now, for the second one, you can choose a different character if you'd like from the book, from what we've read so far. I will get into that in a little bit. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to do a warm-up, just like you would do in brick and mortar school, because we haven't discussed in the last week Cry the Beloved Country, because we took the week off to catch up. So we're going to refresh our memories about what we've learned about Cry the Beloved Country and Reverend Khumalo and Robert Frost's poem The Road Not Taken. Okay, so in this is a short graphic organizer. You don't have to use all the spaces, obviously, if you don't need to. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to jot some notes down. You don't have to write in full sentences here. These are just notes. Okay, so you're going to write about what I remember about Robert Frost's poem, The Road Not Taken. Okay, so you just write some thoughts without looking at your notes. This is to refresh your memory, sort of like recharging a battery or restarting a car, okay? And then under here you're going to write about, in general, what you remember about the novel so far from what we've read. About to Cry the Beloved Country. Okay, and then the third one you're going to write about the Reverend Khumalo. What I remember about Reverend Khumalo. Okay, because we're going to be writing about this further on. If you choose a different character, that's fine. Okay, so then you're going to, after the warm-up, you are going to read this. Okay, so you're going to click on the link. You can click on here and listen to the poem or read the poem. As you listen or read, think about what the speaker is saying about making life choices. Okay, so keep that in your mind when you're reading or listening to the poem. What is the speaker saying about making life choices? And when I say the speaker, I'm saying the character in the poem, not the person who is reading the poem to you, not me, not Robert Frost, but the character in the poem. Okay? So, using those thoughts, answer this question in a minimum of 5 sentences. What is the speaker's perspective regarding choices in life? Okay, so I've written some questions down here to help you answer this question. Okay? You're going to use textual evidence or words from the poem to support your statement. Use the graphic organizer below to support your answer with textual evidence. Okay. So your goal is to answer this question right here in the minimum of 5 sentences. So you're going to write a paragraph about it, basically. Here is a graphic organizer to help you. So you're going to rewrite the question here, so you have a visual of it. You're going to listen, after you listen to the poem or read the poem, you're going to write what you think the answer is. I think, something like, I think the author, the speaker's perspective of life choices is blah blah, whatever you say, and maybe, you add something, and it's also, maybe it could be more than one thing, whatever. This is your analytical time, so it can be more than one thing. But what you're going to do is you're going to support this statement that you wrote here with evidence from the poem. So what you're going to say is you obviously found something in the poem that made you think this. So you're going to take that evidence from the poem and you're going to write it in these blocks. So let's say the line, two roads diverged in the wood, really spoke to you. So you're just going to jot down you're going to put it in quotes because it's not your words, two roads diverged into, diverged in the woods. Okay? You're going to write the next thing that caught your eye, and then if you have a third thing, you write that down. Okay? Because these things support this answer. I want a minimum of 2 things here. 2 words, 2 lines, 2 stanzas from the poem that support your answer. Then you are going to write your paragraph here. Okay, I started it for you. Okay, this is just an example. You don't have to use this. Okay? But it's just to help you. And then obviously you would go on. This isn't you don't stop there. You would go on with further sentences. Okay. Next assignment, you are going to use this graphic organizer to answer the questions. What about 2 choices Reverend Stephen Khumalo or another character from the book had to make in the novel so far? Remember, this unit is about choices and decisions. Okay, so here's some questions to help you because these are what you're going to answer. What were the choices? Why did he have to make them? What does that tell you so far about his character? This graphic organizer is going to help you answer these questions. But again, you have to remember what was in the book. If you don't have the book memorized, obviously you don't, go to the book and pull textual evidence. So let's start from here. Pick 2 choices Reverend Khumalo or another character had to make in the novel so far. Again, this is a graphic organizer. You're just going to write down some notes. So if it's a different character, though, you need to tell me. So if it's not Reverend Khumalo, let's say it's his sister or his brother, you need to put that down. You put the name there so I know. So you choose one character. So for this example, let's use Reverend Khumalo. What choices? One choice was he had to go to Johannesburg. Another choice was once he got into Johannesburg, he had to choose to do this. Okay, so you have one choice here. He had to make this choice because what? Because what? Because he had to find his brother. For example, you could write, for example, he says in chapter 1, it's important to find my brother. Obviously that's not the correct verbiage. You would pull whatever you take from the book and put quotes around it. Okay, so what does this tell you about the character? We're analyzing the character here. This tells me that Reverend Khumalo, cares deeply about his brother. Something like that. A second choice. While in, Johannesburg, he had to choose to do what? He had to make this choice because why? For example, in the book it says XYZ, and you put quotes around whatever you pull from the book. Or you could say he had to make this choice because XYZ. It's clear when I read about the conversation between him and this other character that he had to make that choice because in the book it says this, and this. Okay? Something like that. Doesn't have to be direct quotes. It doesn't have to be specific words that the character says. It can say, you can paraphrase a scene, but you still have to put quotes around it. This tells me that Reverend Khumalo what? Guys, this is going to help you a lot, okay? So make sure you take your time on this, because when you write the paragraph below, you're going to take all this information and write it in complete sentences. But feel free to expand on this. So let's say you just write down here, this tells me Reverend Khumalo is kind and caring. But then when you start writing, you really want to maybe expand on that, saying, this tells me Reverend Khumalo is kind and caring, period. He reminds me of my father, or he reminds me of a man I once knew who did this, this, and this. This story, feel free to expand on it. I like this scene that I'm describing because it reminds me of a movie I saw or something. Really, just take your time and feel free to write as much as you can here. Okay? So, please contact me with questions, and I look forward to helping you if you do have questions. Congratulations to getting to the end of the unit.